What happens when an NBA star attacks a referee?
And he's mad as she just teed up Joel Embiid. And she just threw out Joel Embiid. What is going on?
Joel Embiid was ejected on this play, but why was he so angry? Short answer, frustration. In the 2025 season, Embiid played in just 19 games and Philly went just 24-58, but it gets even worse because Philly owes both Paul George and Joel Embiid a combined $120 million for the 2028 season. An absolute nightmare, but somehow Philly is not the worst situation in the current NBA. So today we are diving into 3 recent moves that have left franchises in shambles. I'm talking about Kyle Kuzma to the Bucks, Paul George to the Sixers, and Bradley Beal to the Suns. But let's start out over in Milwaukee, where will the Kyle Kuzma trade be the final straw and force Giannis to leave the Milwaukee Bucks? We've heard all summer that Giannis might be out of Milwaukee soon, as the Bucks no longer have a roster that is competing for a title. In fact, Milwaukee has almost no assets at all, and the trade for Kyle Kuzma could go down as the final strike here, because we can't blame Milwaukee for taking a swing on Damian Lillard. The season before the trade in 2023, Dame averaged 32.2 points, 7.3 assists, and 4.8 rebounds per game, still at just 32 years old. It looked like the Bucks were getting a superstar to pair with Giannis, only this match was unfortunately far from perfect. Dame's scoring fell to just 24.6 points a game in the regular season, but the real damage, that came with injuries in the playoffs. In the first round of the 2024 playoffs, Dame missed 2 games with an Achilles strain, and Giannis missed the entire playoffs with a calf strain. This led to a first round loss, and then in 2025, the Bucks lost in the first round again as Dame was struck with a double curse. He was diagnosed with deep vein thrombosis before the playoffs began, and then after recovering from that diagnosis, Dame came back and tore his Achilles in the actual playoffs. In response to this injury, the Bucks waived Damian Lillard and stretched his contract out to be able to afford Miles Turner. But that means Milwaukee will be paying Dame $22.5 million until 2030. That money does count towards the salary cap, which is a major problem because, as we said before, Milwaukee has no big-time trade assets. The Bucks do have some solid players in Gary Trent Jr. and Miles Turner, but they traded Chris Middleton with the hope that Kyle Kuzma was going to give them a versatile scoring forward to pair with Giannis. As it turns out, Kyle Kuzma wasn't practicing basketball in the 2023 and 2024 seasons combined. Kuzma looks steady and solid, averaging a combined 21.7 points, 6.9 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. But in 2025, Kuzma's numbers plummeted across the board. With the Wizards, he averaged just 15.2 points a game on 42% shooting, but the Bucks didn't care. They still made the move for Kuzma and watched as in 5 playoff games, Kyle Kuzma put up the big time contribution of 5.8 points and 2.2 rebounds a game in 20.4 minutes a night. The man that Milwaukee thought could be their 3rd leading scorer in the playoffs instead shot just 34.3% from the field. Now, fortunately for the Bucks, Kuzma does have an expiring contract in 2027, but Milwaukee has run out of moves to make due to the Damian Lillard trade, among others. The Bucks do not straight up own their first round pick until the 2031 season. So we have no assets, no other all-star talent, Dame's still on their salary cap, and no top tier young prospects. Yeah, Giannis could very well be gone soon. On to our next question. Should we just completely give up on the Philadelphia 76ers? Philadelphia has been remarkably close to really contending for a title multiple times during the Joel Embiid trust the process era, but they have never reached an Eastern Conference Finals with Embiid, and time may be finally running out. When the Sixers made the move for Paul George, they were hoping to get an all-star level player. Paul George was an all-star in both the 2023 and 2024 seasons, but in just one season, his contract has become one of the worst in the current NBA. There's no getting around this. Paul George has a player option for over $56 million for the 2028 season. He was paid $49.2 million last season and played in just 41 games where he averaged just 17.9 points. The 76ers really need to hope that this was just a one-season fluke fluke for Paul George. But PG is already 35 years old. We can admit that this is looking bleak. On the plus side, a lot of people believe in this year's number 3 pick, VJ Edgecombe. In the Salt Lake Summer League, Edgecombe had a game with 28 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists. The future might be bright here, but the timeline with Embiid and Paul George does not exactly work. Philly is also welcoming back another young player, Jared McCain, who may have won Rookie of the Year before he was injured. In the 23 games McCain played in the 2025 season, he averaged 15.3 points per game, shot the ball well, and looks to have an extremely promising future ahead of him. But both McCain and VJ Edgecombe are over 10 years younger than Paul George. So while Tyrese Maxey has continued to be an excellent player, Maxey's going to turn just 25 years old next season, and he averaged 26.3 points and 6.1 assists per game last year. The Sixers are going to have some very difficult questions to answer quickly. With Embiid and Paul George still on this team, do they try to trade one of these assets to win now, or do they just give up on this team and play for the future? Because that is where we come to the ultimate problem. In late July, Keith Pompey of the Philadelphia Inquirer stated, "I think Joel may know that the end is near." Pompey was speculating that Embiid would soon retire due to injuries. Now, this is a report we've seen pop up a few times at this point, and in the 2024 season, Joel played in just 39 regular season games. Then in 2025, he played in just 19. He also was a shell of himself in the 2025 season. Injuries obviously took their toll as he averaged just 23.8 points per game on 44.4% shooting. Embiid won the MVP in just 2023. This is a dramatic drop off, but when injuries hit, sometimes they hit hard. So is it possible that both Joel Embiid and Paul George are going to bounce back? Yes, it's possible. Is it likely? No, definitely not. Philly does have future first-round picks to work with here, but unless Embiid has one of the biggest injury turnarounds we've ever seen, the Sixers would be out of their minds to trade any more of their future for this current team. Meanwhile, did the Phoenix Suns make the worst trade in recent NBA history? You be the judge here. The Suns are in complete shambles. Last season, they spent $228 million, the second highest payroll in the league, to win 36 games and miss the playoffs. This season, they still have the 8th highest payroll in the league, but both Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal are gone. Phoenix is as far away from a contender as you can be after making the NBA Finals somewhat recently, with their franchise players still on their roster in Devin Booker. How is this possible? Well, let's rewind back to the 2021 season. In 2021, the Phoenix Suns had just shocked the world, going from 34 wins in 2020 to a finals appearance in 2021. In the 21 season, the Suns were picked to win less than 40 games, but instead, they shredded through teams with elite roster construction. Devin Booker was the perfect lead scorer and secondary playmaker. Chris Paul was the veteran traditional point guard. Mikal Bridges was a top-tier 3-and-D wing. DeAndre Ayton provided solid scoring down low. These Suns were a sum of their parts, not an attempt at a super team, but unfortunately, Phoenix's front office craved that super team. Because in Game 4 of the 2021 Finals, Phoenix was actually up 2-1 in this series and had a chance to take a commanding lead, if not for this play by Giannis.
Now Booker with Tucker on him. Throws it up for 8. Shot blocked by Antetokounmpo. What a block from Giannis. Booker the drive, gets inside, leads in. Knocked away and stolen by Holiday. Phoenix has to foul. And Antetokounmpo throws it down.
After this play, Milwaukee took home the win and won in Game 6 as well, which meant after a championship loss, Phoenix now had the question of what do we do next? Let's remember, the Suns do not own any of their first-round picks straight out until the year 2032. They somehow have both no present and no future. How? They overreacted twice. First, after winning 64 games in 2022, but losing in the second round of the playoffs to the Mavs, the Suns went star hunting. Near the 2023 trade deadline, Phoenix gave away a 26-year-old Mikal Bridges, a 26-year-old Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, 4 unprotected first-round picks, and a 2028 pick swap for a 34-year-old Kevin Durant. A noticeable downgrade on the defensive end of the ball, but this roster was actually impossible to judge. NBA history has proven that almost no team ever wins a championship after a giant trade deadline deal, especially if you are trading for a legit superstar. So it made sense that in the 2023 playoffs, the Suns would lose in 6 games to the Nuggets in the second round, especially because the Nuggets not only went on to win the championship, but also in the Western Conference Finals, they swept the Lakers, and then they beat the Heat in 5 games in the title. There was no need to overreact here. The Kevin Durant trade in itself may have ended up being a great one, but the Suns did not wait to find out, and the Bradley Beal trade ruined them. Roster construction here was out the window, and in order to get Beal, the Suns needed to give up Chris Paul and 4 more future first-round pick swaps. All of this to form maybe the worst big 3 ever. The Suns did not need more wing scoring with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, and in 2025, Beal played in just 53 games and averaged just 17 points per game, as Phoenix missed the playoffs with just 36 wins. Did I mention that for this, Beal was paid over $50 million? And the worst part about this was that Beal had a no-trade clause, so Phoenix couldn't move him. And Phoenix, proving to be inept, instead of biting the bullet here and taking a $50 million salary hit the next 2 years, the Suns front office has chosen to waive Bradley Beal in order to avoid a second apron situation that they are responsible for. And in waiving Beal, Phoenix still owes him around $19.4 million a year until the end of the 2030 season. Those $19.4 million are on the salary cap. And again, this is a team that does not have a first-round pick straight up until 2032. It is actually hard to find a worse situation in the entire NBA. And so there we have it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did like this video, I think you will really like this video on Ben Simmons and how he's completely ruined his career and is about to retire. Not great for Benny boy, but if you're already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting. You are awesome. We all know it. And as always, have an awesome day and cue that music.